All right, so off we go. So this is week 6? All right, so we're in week 6 now. I've got all sorts of hands-on stuff for you this week. Week 7 is not there, and what's due when. I just made it visible. I need to fix it, so it's a bit off at this point, but you can take a look at that. The key thing on week 7 is the midterm on the Friday of week 7. In the video bits, I was explaining arrays. How do you have the user enter in your example, their name into the list of names? This usage, yeah, I don't remember what my example was, but I can infer it based on this. Let me copy. This darn thing won't let me copy. Input array dot CPP is probably a string list of names. Maybe I had 4 of them. And then I could say for int I equals 0, I is less than 4, plus I. This usage here would be correct. I would, if I'm anticipating a space in the input, I'd use getLine instead. And then I could display them. Display them in about an opposite order. So let's say it's 3 greater than or equal to 0 minus I. Cout. Name I is list of names sub I. And try that then. G++. Run it. Gibson, Ralphson, Bobson, Anderson. And there we go. So that's that. Yeah, I want to get y'all going on this assignment, so I'm going to defer this a while longer. I'll keep leaving it queued. We'll get to it week 15 or something. Yeah, we'll get to it for then. It's a little instructor humor there. It's like dad humor, only worse. All right. So, what we're doing today, what are we doing today? Assignment, and I never did renumber these, so it is 11.5. Got a couple files for you to download here. Let me download them myself. Whoops. To get that, do the control click. Save link as. Control click. Save link as. Alright, then let me move. What is this called? None calls. Alright. Let me come over here, quit out of this. You do this is the num calls is functionally similar. Well, I don't want to say functionally, semantically similar to if you recall the hexagons in C++. how I provided some code that you needed to kind of compile into your program, but didn't really need to be aware of how it worked in order to use it. That's what this is. So I don't know what does that. So that's not important. What's important is that there's a function called getScreenColumns, and you can call that function and find out how wide your monitor is, or your terminal window. I think I have a test program. Let me see if I can actually copy and paste that. Example. Now I want to call this throw away example. Oh, I call this A11.5.cpp. All right. Move, throw away A11.5.cpp. And this is saying I should compile this using A11.5.cpp and numcall.cpp is the program, has the code that we don't care how it works. What it has, if I look at numcalls.h, has this, a function that returns an integer and doesn't take any arguments, getScreenColumns. So all this program does is it creates an integer and calls that function, and then it gives us the result that that function returned. Let's try running it. The screen width we're looking at now is 89 columns. If I bring this back up like this and I run it again, it's only 44 columns. Okay, so that's all that function does, is it tells you how wide your terminal is. That's useful in this assignment that I'm asking you to do today, which is so let me talk about what I want to do with this. I want you all to do the assignment. If you want to work together, that's fine. Individually submit it. Do not put your name in it. So you may have gotten in the habit with the project comments of putting your name there. Don't put your name in it, because I'm going to, between now and Wednesday, I'm going to curate all of those, and then I'm going to put you in groups on Wednesday, and you're going to have to do little reviews of the code where you'll each have to look at 3 or 4 of the programs and see what you liked and didn't like about each one, and then I'll ask you to redo the program again based on looking at a few other examples to make yours bigger, better, stronger, faster, all that. So, what is it that I'm asking you to do? You have to write a program that prints a box. And let me zoom in here. This is showing some example usage. How tall is the box? It's 5 by 5, so this is roughly squared. Note that if you look at this cursor, you'll note it's very much rectangular. It's approximately twice as long as it is wide. So if I did truly 5 asterisks by 5 asterisks, it would basically be very much a rectangle and wouldn't feel like a square very much. So with the width, what you have to do is you have to multiply by 2, right? So if you say 5, you need to draw 10 asterisks across, and then the number of the tallness stays the same at just 5. So 5, 5 looks like that, 10, 10 looks like that, 5, 10, 10, 5. So it's basically just drawing a rectangle. The interesting quirk about the rectangle is that it's centered in the window, and that's where that function comes in to find the number of columns in your window, because you use that to do a little arithmetic to figure out where to put it in the center. So let me provide a little bit of, let me see, did I cover all this? Encouraging you to use functions, how to compile, multiply by 2. If the user enters a width where you multiply it by 2 and that's larger than the number of columns in the screen, print screen too small and exit. So a tiny bit of error checking there, which is shown here. Then you can make the box super tall because you can just scroll off the screen to create that rectangle that way. But if it's too wide, then you just have to print screen too small. A simple if statement will check that. And then do not put your name. Okay, so I think I have that covered. So let's talk about a strategy for doing this. Write a program that asks for and collects the input. Right, we're talking about the wide and tall numbers. Write a program that prints a single line of asterisks, stars. Yeah. Now, do you see the distinction between 3 and 4? When I say prints tall lines of stars, what I'm saying is you're basically doing this assignment. And I've said nothing about centering. Everything's going to end up over here so far with all this stuff that I'm typing in. When I say lines of stars, that means all these are solid. Right? Inside hollow. So I think unless you're totally got this down in your head and you're going to crank this out real quick because you already know the solution, this is the way you need to do it. You need to write a bunch of small programs building. They don't have to be separate CPP files, right? You have 11.5.cpp and you do number 1, get it working. Now enhance it to do what number 2 says, get it working. Enhance it to do what number 3 right? I'm just asking you to do it stepwise, all right? Rather than trying to figure the whole thing out at once. You'll be, I think you'll be a lot more successful if you do it that way. All right, any questions on what I'm asking for? All right, let me see if there are any last minute questions here. Nope. All right, I will let you have at it.